Okay, guys, how you guys doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good. First of all, thank you for joining the Seven Figure Moving Academy. I really, truly appreciate that. And I was really, really happy to hear about your story. And that's kind of why we're doing this. One, you wanted to have it, but two, I saw what Karsten wrote when you joined the group, and that was really impressive. You now correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys started this last year in January, this business?
Correct. Our LLC was formed 1/1/21.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And from what you said, you made $250,000 roughly between then and now.
Yes, between our Square, SML, and Hire Helper, I think it was about 245,000 revenue.
5,000 short of $250,000. That's truly, truly, truly impressive. I gotta know, how did you do it? Well, first of all, what made you decide you guys are going to team up and become moving laborers?
I guess I'll go ahead and take this one. Actually, first and foremost, I am just going to say I am a little nervous. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to kiss ass or anything, but it's like truly an honor and privilege to like be doing this right now. I kind of feel a little starstruck because I watch all your videos and they've been like, just a tremendous help. So I really I thank you for like sharing everything you have shared, like for free. You've given a lot of valuable information that really helped us out a lot. So again, thank you. But yeah, we started up. I've been moving for about 3 years. I was working for my buddy's labor only company for about 2 years. Me and one of the other guys kind of talked about starting our own thing. We went to go start it together. Didn't work out with him. I approached my sister on this. She's my little sister. We're close. I figured she'd be a good candidate. She's definitely a lot more responsible than I am when it comes to like money and stuff. So, I've kind of always been a knucklehead, so she's got a good head on her shoulders. So I approached her and I knew I could do something with it. We could do something with it. So like we teamed up, got the LLC formed. And honestly, like I knew nothing about running a business. I know how to move furniture. I consider myself a good mover. I love doing it, but yeah, the whole business side is just, I'm learning as I go, and most of it came from your videos. I came across your videos and just, was watching them nonstop. Started out where it was just me and my one buddy running all jobs, and we ended up getting crews. And, I knew nothing about like SEO or anything like that. From my understanding, all the other like moving companies, they all use the third parties, Hire Helper, Moving Helper, SML, all that. So I thought that's how you got work. Then as I was watching more of your stuff, I realized about like Google and SEO. And buddy of mine actually, a good friend of mine, he's a real nerdy dude, knows all stuff with like, like Bitcoins and just like he made our website and all that. And, he was reading up on SEO, and he did our SEO for us and made our website. And, after that in New York, we're in the top 3 for, York moving companies in our area. So that helped us out a lot. But yeah, mostly it's been, man, like I would say like I watched a lot of your videos religiously. I try and network with other company owners. Me and her team, we communicate well together. She handles a lot of the phone, emails, all that. I kind of handle the guys, the jobs. I don't know, kind of switch off, but yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit of it.
All right, awesome. That's great. That's great. So now you got your own website, right? How much are you charging for a basic move?
So for hourly, we we started out 100, 140, 180, 2-man, 3-man, 4-man. We just bumped them we bumped it up $5 during the summer, and we just recently bumped them up again $5. So now we're charging 110 for a 2-man, 150 for a 3-man, and then 190 for a 4-man.
Okay. And where does that stand for other companies of like other moving laborers in your area? Are you guys at the bottom? Are you guys in the middle? Are you guys at the top? Where are you guys at?
Honestly, I mean, we've been hearing from a lot of people that we're on the lower end. So that's why we started upping them. I know my buddy he used to work for charges, 120, 160, 200, I believe. I still felt like it was competitive, but it seems like prices are kind of going up because I know a couple of years ago, when I started, that was like the norm. And now it's, we're being told by customers like we're, the cheaper end. Or not cheaper, but a little bit on the lower end. I feel like the prices are still competitive.
Some of the customers say we're more affordable than the others, so that's what we've put on a definitely more competition. I feel like because a lot of people come to us and say, "Hey, you guys are a little bit more affordable," and then they take us up on it. But we have to keep up with times too. Everything's going up, is more expensive, so we're gradually going up. Because we did go up over in the summer. I was like, we should go up $20, and then we didn't get any bites. So then we brought it back down. Like, okay, gradually, been kind of playing with the prices.
Okay. So if that's some great feedback right now. If the customers are saying that you're at the lower end, right? Then that's a good indicator that you do need to raise your prices.
Correct.
Make sense? I'm not saying you have to be at the high end, right? But you should at least bring them up so that you're more of the middle end. Does this make sense?
Absolutely. Okay. Actually, I watched one of your videos because then when me and her spoke, I remember you saying that just gradually go up, instead of doing a drastic change, you're like, all right, just bump it up $5, if hourly, bump it up $5, And I remember you saying just keep doing that or like a percentage.
Yeah. When I was talking with Stevens to be an agent of their van line, and I was talking with Maury Stevens, he would tell me how they did it. And they did it like pretty much every quarter. They were raising their prices up 2 or 3%. Right. And that's a lot better. I mean, some companies can get away with just ripping off the Band-Aid and just doing it all at once. I think that sets you up for failure and sticker shock for your past customers, right? But it's really up to you. You guys do you, but definitely it does sound like you need to raise your prices up, right? Especially with what's going on. Did I lose you there, Karsten?
Yeah, you kind of froze. I could still hear you. You're frozen right now.
Same with you. You're kind of frozen.
Okay. I can still hear you though.
Okay, very good. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea to start raising. I mean, not like huge amounts right away, but maybe a little bit more than the $5 increments, maybe $10 increments. I mean, you could always come down. You can always bring it back down.
Yeah.
But definitely do that. Now, are you guys profitable? Are you guys actually in the black versus being in the red?
So that's another thing. So to be honest, like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like what we've been talking about this now that we have to like crack down on our numbers. Because to be honest, like I'm not really keeping track of all that. I mean, we got our QuickBooks, we're logging stuff in. I noticed, because I'm hearing other company owners talking about like labor costs that it should be about like 33%. I looked at what our percentage is and we're paying labor like 40% for our laborers. In my opinion, because I come from nothing, so like, yeah, like we're profitable where I'm like, okay, I've never made this much, working any job, and I'm single though, but I'm making good money where I've been able to, we've been able to get some work gear, like a trailer, some work vehicles, other kinds of supplies and all that. But I noticed we're also a little I know we gotta just kind of look at our numbers and budget a little bit more, because I do a lot of stuff where like I'll just blow money on Google ads, but I really don't know what the ROI is on it. So, we get a lot. I put them on, I'm paying $500 to $1,000 for running Google ads. But most of the time we're getting calls is for people looking for other services from Google, like when they on the ad. So I don't know how much we're getting back. We're not really asking like, hey, how did you find us? Most people just say Google. So I don't know if they mean like, Google ads or, they just search moving companies. But I mean, I've definitely acquired things I never had before, but I know we could be a lot more profitable when we actually like look at our expenses and budget a lot better.
So whose job is it to do the finances and the budgeting and so on? So is that yours, Karsten, or is that yours, Alex?
It's supposed to be mine. Carson's a little bit better with the numbers, though. I feel like he knows how to plug everything in. But when it comes to taxes and stuff like that, that's more something where I step in and take care of that.
Okay. There's a book, Alexandria, I want you to get and read. And I want this book to be your Bible. Okay? This book right here.
CFO. Okay.
I'm gonna write it down right now too. 60-minute CFO. And is this on the Facebook page too, Jay?
It's not on the Facebook page, but I did.
Okay.
I did do almost a 2-hour podcast with the author of this book, David Dury.
Okay.
So if you go to Moving Company Mentors on Spotify or any of those podcasts, you can find my podcast.
Yes.
And
Okay, cool.
Or you could go to the link in any video that I have, any of my recent videos. I have a link to my podcast, and you can find the podcast from there and check out the podcast. But this book,
Awesome.
Alexander, should be your Bible. It sounds like you guys got a great system going, which is I lost you again, Karsten. Can you still? Okay.
I can still hear you. You're just frozen, Jay.
Okay. Good. This should be your Bible. And you should read it, understand it, apply it. Okay? Because it sounds like you guys got a great dichotomy and you guys got a good organizational board, which is awesome. So now let's fine tune that a little bit with actual company descriptions and actual company responsibilities. So I need you guys to actually start figuring that out since we're in the slow period. Take the time, get together, go to each other's places and then write it down and go, okay, my responsibilities are going to be blah, 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 right? My responsibilities are blah, 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 right? And you just lay them all out, right? And figure out that org board. And a great book for you, Karsten, is a book called Traction. Let me see if I've got that right on here.
Okay.
No, it's probably in my other room. I think so. It's a great book.
You said trap. One more time, like you kind of cut out.
I said a book that I really want you to understand and follow is called Traction.
Traction. Okay. So Traction. And who is the author?
I don't got it right here. Hang on, let me do a Google search.
Okay.
Just do a quick Google search. It's by Gino Whitman.
Gino Whitman. All right.
Whitman. W-I-K-M-A-N. Whitman.
Okay, got it.
Right, and that's basically going to, if you follow if you read those books and you apply them, that'll give you a good foundation more than what you guys got now. Okay. One thing that obviously that you said about the SEO, if Alexandria is ahead of the budget, she should be doing the budget for the Google, right? Taking that off of your plate. Okay. That's if she wants to do it. That's really dependent on me. But her thing is more of the logistics, organizational field, while yours is more of the operation. Does this make sense?
Absolutely.
So organizationally, it would be Alexandria handling the finances for the Google ads. You guys could get together and do the marketing because no one's really handling marketing. But when it comes to finances, now let me give you a name. His name's Travis. Travis Weathers. Travis Weathers from Rotate Digital. Now,
Road Take Digital.
right. He has an SEO company and he also does Google Ads. And he really has that down pat when it comes to Google Ads. And this will help you, one, streamline so you're not getting the bad keywords, because what's happening is you're getting a lot of people talking about services you don't do. That's because it's in what's called negative keywords. And negative keywords you want to filter out. And Travis and his team will know how to do that. Okay?
Awesome. Awesome.
So go and talk to them. You're going to probably, because you are going to be using the service, you're going to be probably paying right around the same amount that you're paying currently.
Okay.
But you're paying a lot because you're spending on, no offense,
Yeah.
crappy keywords.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And who's the little
None
guy,
taken.
Alexandria? Who's that?
My son, Eli.
Eli. How you doing, Eli?
He's the one that was making all that noise in the background.
Okay. Totally okay. That's awesome. You eat the stick. There you go. Enjoy that. Okay, good. So you guys are doing really great. I mean, truly. Now, how are you? What you're in doing the labor? Are you using any third-party services to promote the business?
Just simple moving labor and hire helper. And then yeah. And then mostly a lot's been on Facebook. We post on Facebook daily. I'm kind of in a huge network out here and I know a lot of people. So, every time I post like our business post, I post on Facebook. I got multiple friends posting it as well. Post it to like all the groups and all that. Like all the group pages, like where it's like York County, Harrisburg, all that. I do daily posts and so mostly been doing a lot of organic too. I know even one of the videos I watched, I was surprised was the marketplace ones where, I put out like professional moving services where people are like searching for like, homes for sale or for rent. And believe it or yeah, we have gotten, I was surprised on how many jobs we got doing that.
You watched that video about doing the marketplace on Facebook, the video on
Correct. Facebook. Yes. Yeah. Free Facebook ads. Yeah.
Are you applying that video, the techniques and strategies in that video completely?
I felt like I was. I kind of just watched it a couple of times. I felt like I did it correctly. I would put like 300 or 400 just for the moving services and just pretty much get them to message me. And once they messaged me, we just went from there.
I hate to interrupt. One of the guys were calling me Carson. It's Travis. Okay. So I'm going to take that.
Cool.
So
come back.
I don't know. Do I put the mute on? I'm trying to.
Yeah, just put.
Okay, good. Right, so cool. You're doing the Facebook Marketplace and getting a lot of ads. Okay, that's awesome. You could also, there's a new thing now. You can actually do sponsored ads in the Facebook Marketplace too. That might be something you might want to check into and do it. Are you guys sending out postcards at all?
No, we are not. And I've definitely heard a lot about that. And I was, I definitely wanted to learn more about that and possibly maybe wait. I don't know. It was definitely something I planned on in the future, but I wanted to learn more about it and all that. Okay. But I hear from a lot of companies that are like postcards. Postcards
are great. I mean, when I did my postcards were the best thing I ever done. I started out with moving company leads, I believe the thing is, or moversleads.com. And they did a really great job. And then as I built my budget up, I went to usahomelistings.com and did it that way. When you do it, there's a bunch of advice on my videos about postcards. Start there, learn about it. And then, you can come to the group and ask about how to do it. But that is definitely
awesome.
And you'd really want to start it just before moving season begins. Okay. It's going to take 30 to 60 days for it to really ramp up, right?
Gotcha.
But that is definitely something. So that's awesome. So you're doing really good with the marketing. You got the SEO going.
For sure.
So that's great. Now, I saw when you just joined the group. Thank you again. And I saw that you showed that you were networking with other movers, and that's awesome. What about what networking with other movers is great, but what about the other areas like real estate agents, mortgage brokers, things like that, at regular normal businesses out in the field? Are you doing any networking as far as that goes?
So I definitely got to do a better job on networking with them. I know we've had a few relationships, believe it or not. Like I probably know about 5 realtors personally, that are friends of mine. So but you would think I'd maybe like reach out to them more. I've given, I know whenever we do anything with a realtor, we give them cards. I know a few realtors have referred us. We did a job, we just did a job recently, which was a big one for a realtor. Kind of same thing, just she asked us for a bunch of cards, but yeah, I could definitely be doing a better job on probably networking with the realtors though. And, because I know there's this one company, a buddy of mine's in, they've thrown us a few jobs. I don't know. They've probably thrown us about like 5 to 10. I don't know. Well, they've thrown us a few, but they usually work with another moving company. So I guess they have a contract with 10. They did approach me in the beginning, seeing if we were willing to do a deal, because they have this deal that they do for their customers where they pay for like $1,000 of their customers' move. And, usually
that's a marketing thing. Basically, you pay them $700, $800, $1,000. They stick them in a little packet that they have, and they give them out to everybody that moves. It can be good. My experience says it was kind of a hit or a miss, but you need to track it. You need to track it. And a good way to track it is by every place that you do something like that with, is you go get a trackable phone number. And it's just basically a phone number that you go to this company, they give you these phone numbers. They can be 800 numbers or local numbers. And then what it does is it actually tracks the number of phone calls you get to that particular number. And it forwards to your regular normal business number. Nobody's aware of the difference. So if they call that number, you get the call immediately. They don't know that they called a different phone number. But then you could see the statistics of how many people called that.
Okay, so you would do that with maybe Google Ads with realtors, with like whatever. So you get a different one for each one. Yep. So then that way you're able to track where.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to keep a main business number, which is going to be on your phone number and on your business cards and any of your pamphlets, right? But anything that goes external to that, like flyers to real estate agents, or any kind of ad that you're going to be placed, like your Google ads, like billboards. If you do billboards, you shouldn't, but if you do, any kind of ads that you do to real estate agents, you want to be able to track and find out where it's coming from. That way, by knowing your numbers, then you'll know where you're wasting money and where you're actually making money. And then by knowing where you're wasting money, you can get rid of that, right? That avenue, and then build up to the places that are actually bringing in the revenue. Does this make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Now, one thing that you should do, and I made a video about way back, like 3-4 years ago. It's called my Realtor Referral Machine, or something of that nature, right? And it's basically whenever you do a move for a realtor, you really want to talk to the customer and find out who their real estate agent was, who their mortgage broker was, find out who did the inspections and stuff like that. Find everybody that helped them with the real estate. Get all their names and phone numbers, business cards if you can. Then when you're done doing the job for the customer and they're very, very happy, you get out your phone and you just do a simple video testimonial. 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes, however long, right? Download that, right? Store it on the iCloud or whatever. And then you send the real estate agent, the mortgage broker, everybody, the inspectors, and say, hey, just wanted to let you know that I moved this guy. Here's what he has to say about his move, right? And that if the real estate agent gave you that referral, it'll validate them that they sent you to the right guy, right? That they, wow, right? 2, it'll increase. The more you keep doing that, the more this machine will build up, right? And then they will tell their other colleagues, their other real estate agents, their other mortgage brokers and everything about how Karsten, kinetic movers from York, Pennsylvania is just killing it. And then you just build up this machine.
Awesome. Cool. I've watched that video before. I will rewatch it. I took some of these notes down, so cool. Thank you.
Good. So now that you're doing that, are you doing any kind of loads and unloads? It looked like you are, but are you doing unloads for major van liners?
No van liners yet. We've done them for like shipping containers overseas. We've done a few where they've contacted us, like you ship, I ship. It was a couple of different ones. Definitely haven't done any van liners yet. We've had, other moving companies from like I have a buddy that owns multiple locations down like Myrtle Beach, and he always hits us up to help with an unload that if he's sending up our way.
Okay.
But yeah, no vanners.
All right, no worries. Very good. Now another place that you might want to look at, and there's a lot of groups in the Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups for labor people that can really, if they know what they're doing, like you got to really know your shit if you're going to get in with the van liner. You got to know how to use the pads. You got to know how to use bands. You really got to know how to load a truck, like really super tight and make it look pretty.
Yeah.
And if you know how to do that, you got to be up to their standards to do that.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You just got to be willing. But if you get in with these groups, then as the owner of it, you can actually get hired by these areas that come within your vicinity, your demographic city, and get hired, especially in the summertime, get hired by them to do it. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to do it as a company, then you've got to make sure that when you go there, that the van liner doesn't pay the crew separately. Because sometimes they'll pay every crew member separate. But you can get up to $200, $300 per guy.
Okay.
Right? But if you do it as a company, you can have the guy pay you directly, right? You can have it set up with Venmo, Cash App, or cash. They'll normally do it by cash. Yeah. But you could get paid cash by them, right? You could give them a receipt, and then you could pay your guys out of that, their cut, right?
Sweet.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you got
so definitely look for doing it as a company then, as kinetic movers.
But yeah, you're going to have to be the guy that sets it up. But just know that they're going to pay you, like the drivers are going to pay per person. Okay. And the going rate is around $200 for most moves.
Okay. Nice.
But if you're on the job, then you collect that money directly. Or if you're not on the job, when you set it up, you say, hey, look, can you pay by Cash App? I don't want you paying my guys. Pay me through Cash App or Venmo or whatever, and then I'll pay my guys. It's gonna take a little bit of negotiation. Some of them are gonna balk at that, and they'll resist against that because that's not normally the status quo. But it's a good way for you to try that out and see how it goes. But that's one way to increase your income by $50,000 to $100,000 per year.
Awesome. Wow.
Gross.
So awesome. Van line groups.
Now,
so just
I wanted to say that you mentioned earlier, that your payroll is about 40%. And as a labor only company, that's actually not bad at all because you have far less overhead than a licensed, insured, full service moving company has. Okay. So most of your overhead is going to be in marketing and then some of the equipment, right? Correct. So, and so you could really get away with, it's not ideal, but you can get away with a 50-50%. So 50% being payroll, 50% being operational profit.
Gotcha.
Just be aware of that.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
Now, I'm just blown away. You guys, $250,000. Yeah. Now, how many jobs are coming to you from your website? Do you know?
I don't know what the percentage, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'd say the majority are coming, yeah, directly from Google and our website. So just people searching moving companies.
Okay. So you just need to tweak up your marketing a little bit when it comes to the Google ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Network a little bit more outside of the movers that you network with. That's good. You want to continue doing that. You want to expand your network. So that's awesome. I mean, you're doing great. Now, what is the population overall in York, Pennsylvania? Where are you guys, like near Philly or Pittsburgh or what?
So we're about an hour and a half from Philly. We're closer to Baltimore, actually. We're probably about 45 minutes north of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
So we'll do jobs out in Baltimore and all that. Let me look. York is a small population, but
yeah, I saw that it was out there in the Goonies.
Yeah, it's definitely a small population. Let's see. Yes, it's 40. I mean, from 2020, it was 44,800, the population.
Okay. Okay. So then you might want to increase. Now, do you guys do stuff in Philly at all, or is that too far for you?
Not for, so, I mean, I say we're labor only. We've definitely, been doing full service moves, kind of watching how we do them. But, I mean, we've done a few long distance ones. So, I mean, if someone was like, we've done them to Philly, where someone's like, moving from York to Philly, we've done them. Usually not to start out unless someone called and it was like, the price was, if it was worth it, we would. But no, I mean, we're not getting people from Philly calling us, but we've definitely done, we'll go out that way for sure.
Okay. Okay. Now, I'm a big proponent of being licensed and insured if you're going to do full service moves.
For sure.
I'm not saying that I'm perfect and that I didn't do it unlicensed and uninsured, because I did. But I did it because of ignorance, not because I didn't know better. Right?
Correct.
So all I'm going to say is I'm not judging you, but try to get licensed and insured if you're going to do that. Because if something goes wrong, you could literally lose your company.
Absolutely. That's so we watch, I mean, we've definitely done them a few times. And I'm fully aware that, we're not supposed to. I kind of pick and choose ones, where I'm like, okay, we could do that. But I actually just turned down a job. Like, well, I told this lady we were going to book her as a big job, it was a 2-day pack job, moved from like York, PA to like St. Louis, Missouri area. And honestly, I was just, I didn't send her a contract yet. I said yes. A few days later, I was like, hey, we're not, we can't do this move for you. Just because I don't know, I had a feeling. I'm like, we don't have cargo insurance. We had it for a short time. I'm in the process of trying to get cargo insurance. My goal is to get licensed. I was really trying to do it when we first started, and then realized I might have been jumping the gun. I know from like fellow owners I've talked to, like my one buddy, he's licensed and insured. He's down in Myrtle Beach. He has a location up this way. I think he has like 5 locations. I was kind of asking him, I was like, should I not be doing these? And he's like, dude, run wild until he goes, it's hard. He was just like, do them. He goes, watch how, he goes, I would do them. He goes, I ran wild for 2 years until I was able to get licensed. I don't know, but I definitely try and pick. I'm not trying to. My goal is to become fully licensed. Yes.
I am not. Again, I've done it too. I was a road mover, what they call technically a road mover.
Correct.
I'm not making any judgments on it, but my recommendation to you is to go and get legal as fast as you can. If you're going to do them, be smart. But there's a lot of risk there. If you're going to do them, just so you got to be. If you're aware of the risks and you're willing to take them, fine. A good way to work around that, and this is a really in the gray area. I mean, it's in the really gray area. And again, I'm not advocating it, but one thing you're going to do if you're going to do a long distance move is that you get the customer to rent the truck under their name, make sure that they get insurance, right? And that it's in your contract that, yes, we'll drive the truck for you, right? And we're going to charge a certain amount for our time, right? But your 100% responsible for any damages and stuff like that during transport and stuff like that and so on. Just make sure it's in your contract and you go over that with them,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You know, and say, hey, look, I'll meet you at U-Haul, I'll meet you at Penske, I'll meet you at Budget. We'll take the truck. You got to hire, you got to do it, and it's got to be under your name, kind of thing. Does this make sense?
Okay. Yes.
This will help
Yes.
protect you. And if it's in your contract that, hey, we're not liable for any kind of damage, you know, due to accidents or anything like that while we're, you know, we're driving, that's on you. So you got to have your own insurance and take insurance out, things like that. And then make sure your customer knows why you're doing it, because although you do not have to be licensed insured to be a labor only, you should be, you don't have to be. You know, you could do the load and unloads, no problem. Actually driving the truck for commercial purposes, technically you're supposed to be licensed and insured. Again, that method is very, very, very gray area, almost to the point like it's over the mark. And again, I'm not recommending it, I'm not advocating it. It's just one thing you could do. I understand.
Okay, so
but
yes,
you get $250,000 in this year. You should have been able to put up quite a bit of money aside into the bank accounts to be able to get yourself licensed and insured for this coming season, or even the next, or maybe you need another season to do it, but you should have been.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let me ask you this very personal question. Are you guys paying yourselves?
So what we've been doing, we're paying ourselves. We're kind of like so what I do is I calculate everything from every job, and we put, you know, we take out all the expenses for laborers, you know, whatever other cost, and then whatever's left over, then we take 30% of that out, put it into the business account, and then we split the remaining balance 50-50 between me and her. Okay. And then we just kind of, what I do is I just kind of keep log of like each day what we made, and I don't know, I might pull out like every couple weeks, once a month, something like that.
Okay. Well, out of the money that you make, you're taking 20% for your guys' personal income. So hypothetically,
correct.
You've made $100. I'm sorry, $1,000 job. Hypothetically, you get $100, she gets $100.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That sounds like pretty good if it's working for the two of you. I haven't heard from her. She's just sitting there, but she's on.
Sorry. I know, I'm just listening. Karsten's I'm a little more shy, I guess you could say right now. So
it's all good. Okay, good. So how much money do you guys have put away then in a bank account? Out of that 30% that you use for the business that you're putting back in the business, how much of you have actually, what's the percentage of that you've actually put into buying a truck, getting licensed and insured and all that? How much have you done?
I don't know. So like, I know what we have in our bank account right now. I don't know what the percentage is. I know recently we just bought a work vehicle with our business expense, an SUV, because my other SUV was breaking down. So I actually a Ford Explorer. And then I remember you saying you started out with a Ford Explorer. So we got a Chevy. We just bought a Chevy Trailblazer. We actually bought another work vehicle for the guys to use to run jobs, because we were running into an issue when we first started, was like all the guys had licenses, but no one had their own vehicles. And I was pretty much running to every job in my, with the guys running every single job. So we bought like a small 2003 SUV, and one of our crew leads, he uses it to go to and from jobs and for personal, but he never says no to a job. And then, the Explorer, I just handed over to one of the other guys too, for him to use it to run jobs with. And then I got the Trailblazer. We just bought a trailer. We've bought in 2 work vehicles. We bought a trailer. Been using that for like doing mostly like hot tub jobs and junk removal and, stuff like that. And then, yes, I mean, right now in our account just definitely went down a lot, but there's like expenses that we kind of, made personally to kind of help some of the guys and stuff like that. But I mean, right now we got about 20,000 in our business account right now.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. What I would probably do if I were you, just because of the economy and the where it stands right now, it's not a great economy. Prices are going up. You know, you can't buy a used truck anymore for what you used to be able, a decent used truck. So you're going to probably have to double. So my suggestion is that I would suggest that you try to double what you have minimally into the bank, what you have this next coming year. Based on you only have 20,000, which is a good for a moving labor company. That's a good nest egg. That really truly is. My suggestion is stay a moving labor for this next season, this next coming season, and then build that minimally up to 40,000 that bank account that you've had saved up. And then at the end of the moving season, then you can start looking to go buy a nice used moving truck, right? Ideally a 26 footer, and then go get yourself licensed and insured, right? Use those funds because you're going to probably need about $2,000 to $3,000 to get yourself insured to start off, and then you're going to want to get it decaled and your DOT numbers and all that. And getting licensed is not a DOT number. You can get a DOT number if you have a pulse, so it's not hard. But if you want to go out of state, you got to go get what's called an MC number, a motor area number. That's $300 unless they raise the prices here recently. They may have, but that's typically around $300. So other than insurance and the buying of the truck, that's your biggest expense in getting licensed.
Awesome.
If you haven't got it, go get my book, Who Sells Moving Insurance. You can go to whosellsmovinginsurance.com. It's like $20 for the book, but it gives you all of the top 8 agents that sell moving insurance, as well as the insurance companies themselves. Gives you their names, their phone numbers, emails sometimes. So you can do that. Plus it gives you, there's a, you know, at the back part of the book, it tells you how to go get yourself insurance, especially if you do not have a moving truck right now. Right?
Yeah, I will definitely order that because I've been seeing that. Because I know we have, you know, basic liability right now for us. And honestly, though, like, to be truthful, I literally just called our agent the other day just to make sure, like, I'm like, you know, we got it. I was just like, okay, cool, we got our insurance. I took his word for it. But I'm like, I really don't know what this is covering. You know, like, I really don't, you know, I had to ask him a few questions because then I just watched one of your videos on it where I think you guys spoke about like the Baileys, you know, insurance, then of course the cargo, and then different forms of liability. I think there was 2 different types of liability I heard you guys mention, and I was kind of asking the agent, and he didn't really. I asked him about the Baileys, like and he said it was for cargo because I thought the Baileys was for like if we damage stuff while moving as well. That covered stuff that was not in cargo.
For cargo, but it does cover like households and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's good that you've got insurance, and that's a good thing because then when it comes time to actually get the insurance, like cargo and liability insurance for the truck, etc., it's going to be easier for you because you will have established credit and timeline of being in the insurance. So make sure you're paying on time, and you know, pay like $5 extra or over. So if it's $127. I'm just making this number up. $127 a month. Pay $130. You see what I'm saying? Just pay a little bit extra, and then that'll set up like good credit for you. So when it comes time next year, it should be a snap for you to get that insurance.
Okay, awesome.
So you're doing good. So that's great. Now another personal question.
Yes.
How are your guys's? Are you guys equally yoked to the company, or is it completely, utterly under your name? How's the business? 50-50?
Yeah, the 50-50 on the LLC, yes.
Okay, good. How is your guys' personal credit? Is it good or bad? Don't give me numbers.
Hers is better? Oh, yeah. Mine's not, yeah. Hers is good, mine's bad.
Okay, you need to fix your credit then. That needs to be a priority. Over this next year, fix your credit.
Okay.
However that means. That means doing a debt settlement, do debt settlement. If it means debt consolidation, do that consolidation. If it means bankruptcy, do bankruptcy, but fix that credit. Okay? You're going to need the credit, especially when you try to go buy trucks, etc. You want to be able to leverage your credit and your income. Not only that, to build business credit, especially as a new company, you're going to need to have good personal credit, right? So another thing you should be doing too is when you're, if you can, go get a business credit card for fuel, right? Under the company's name. Use your EIN number, which you should have gotten if you got an LLC. You should have given you an EIN number. So go get a credit card for fuel card to fuel up all your stuff. Again, Alexandria, knowing this book and following this, you'll be able to get this stuff done. And if you go over this next coming season and you build up at the end of the moving season, you guys should be really rock and rolling. Okay. So really go and follow this. I know it's boring and it's all about mathematics and accounting, but you got to force yourself through it. Go through it like 3-4 times, highlight things, and actually apply it. I know it's going to be like a snooze, but you got to do it. You got to know your numbers. The key to a successful business and scaling a business is knowing your numbers. Bar none. You've got to know your numbers. Okay? Man.
Awesome.
Now, we've been here now for quite a number. I've interviewed you about your business and how you started your business and how you did. And thank you so much. This is truly a Christmas gift to me because I'm going to use it to show other people how to do it. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is now the time where you can ask me your questions that you're interested.
All right. I definitely got one main one that I've been wanting to ask. So I don't know what could be said or not, but I mean, I've kind of just got it from watching some of the videos with, right now we're paying our guys as contractors. So like every other company I've worked for, I always work for, I guess you would say road moving companies, that I was always paid cash at the end of the job under the table. And then until my one buddy, I think he got hit by after a year and he put everyone on payroll. Then I was on payroll for a little bit, but almost every other movie company I know is like paying cash, paying guys under the table. I don't know how well they're doing, but I know when we first started, I was like, okay, I want to get, guys on the books right away. So like I did it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I used to have the guys fill out, as contractors, I pay them once a week by check, as 1099. Now, from what I do understand is like, we could get hemmed up, they could be considered employees. And what I watched from the one video, you were kind of mentioning, okay, having them sign a contract and then having them go get their own contractors, workman's comp insurance, and then us reimburse them for it. So then that would kind of save us legally. Because of course, as a new company, at this time being, we cannot afford to put guys on payroll and, and pay for workman's comp. So, I was trying to find a way where we don't get hemmed up that will save our asses. So
yes, absolutely. This is going to be one of the biggest expenses that you guys got is workman's comp. Depending on the amount of people you are, I know people that pay thousands of dollars every month for workman's comp insurance, but it really depends on. It typically comes down to how much money you guys are making and how many employees you have, right? And then based on that, that's how much workman's comp is usually figured out. How many guys do you have? How many?
5.
5.
Not 5 movers. Not including me. No. So 5 movers. So I've mostly been off the truck lately, but I still run some, every now and then. But yeah, I would be like the 6th one if we need extra help.
Well, and that's good, but you should not be on the trucks at this point. You should be running the crew.
Correct.
You should be a supervisor. You should definitely go to jobs that the guys are on to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. You don't have to do it every day, but you should do it frequently until they get up to the point, they're not effing off, and smoking cigarettes every 10 minutes and things like that, right? That they're putting down floor runners and boarding up walls with cardboard so walls aren't getting dinged. They're doing pads right, stuff like that. But workman's comp is going to be pricey. It is a good idea. That is a good method to do, is get the guys to get their own workman's comp. The problem with that is it's like pulling teeth with these guys. You can tell them, go get workman's comp, go get workman's comp, go, and they just won't do it. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to need to bring in your insurance agent, right? And you probably use the same agent that's doing your truck and cargo and stuff. He's probably can do workman's comp as well. So you bring your agent in, you bring your guys in, have them all come in. You might have to pay them for a couple hours to do it, but you bring them in, you bring your insurance agent in, and you have them do it right then and there, right? And then you tell them, every month I will pay your bill. I will reimburse you for your bill. I'm going to pay you. You're going to pay them, and then I'm going to pay them. If you fail to pay them, could result in suspension and or termination. And you have them sign a sheet that says it. So they can't say, well, I didn't know, So they got to understand that, hey, I'm going to reimburse you every month. I'm going to add an extra 150 or whatever to your payroll every week or every 2 weeks or whatever it is for your, and because their bills are once a month. So you could, so if it's $100, you can pay $25 extra to their paycheck a week. Does this make sense?
Okay. Yes.
So that's not like, oh, I'm going to pay $100. You can do it once a month too, however you want it.
Okay.
But you can break it down and like, look, I'm going to pay you $25 extra. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if you fail to keep it up and I get, and I'm going to talk to my insurance agent, he says, oh, you failed to do it, that could result in, termination or suspension. And you can let them know, look, and if you're having trouble paying it for some reason or other, let me know. And I might be able to cover you for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever it is. But once that's done, I'm going to then withdraw from your payroll a little bit each week. So it's not going to
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But that's that's the only way it's going to work.
And that's the way I'm looking into after I heard that. Now, I guess my next question, because I've looked in the files and I seen one kind of like agreement where it was like, I think it looked like it was off of Van Lines or something in your files section. It was saying, I agree that I am a contractor. I will not hold such and such, responsible for any. Is that like the contract you kind of have go off with, guys? Because I'm trying to just go off of something to have them make. Or should I go to an attorney for that? Should I?
Attorney won't do that because you're considered. Your guys are technically employees, and that's that's a 1099 thing.
Okay.
And as 1099, technically speaking, your guys can sue the homeowner for any physical problems that they have, right? So you would want to get something to write. Say, hey, look, if you were ever hurt while working as a 1099 contractor, you will not sue in any or her or indemnify our customer in any manner, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You need to come to us if you're hurt, and then we can help you from there.
Okay.
And you definitely want to do that to anybody that you bring on for temporary work. Temporary guys, you can definitely keep 1099. But any of your full-time guys do have to be technically employed. And you can get around with them getting their own workman's compensation and then being 1099. Again, that's gray area, but it's legal. Okay.
Correct.
That's more on the positive side of gray area, but it's still gray area.
Correct. And that's, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And another thing that you could do that some companies do to get around the high cost of workman's comp for movers is that you could either create your own payroll company or hire a payroll company. And then the payroll company will technically be the employers of your crew, right? So then you pay your payroll company, they pay the crew every week or every 2 weeks or every month, right? However you guys set it up. And you just pay the payroll company a fee for doing that. And then technically speaking, those guys work for the payroll company, and the payroll company will then get workman's comp for them, but they're going to get workman's comp for as general labor. They're not going to get them as moving or general this and that. So their workman comp is going to be very, very minimal. That is a workaround. It is legal.
Okay.
It does work. But again, you got to protect your ass too, right? I've actually known moving companies that have created their own payroll company to do that specifically, right? Just know if you're going to do that, make sure you do it legally and you're doing it, you know, by the books, because it can come back to haunt you, right?
Correct.
Another thing you should do is maybe take a very small percentage, like 1%, 2%, 3%, and put it into a fund that you guys don't touch for any kind of medical fund for you, for Alexandra, for you, and then for any of the crew members for in case money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a lot, but just enough to put it, you know, and let it build up. It probably build up by tens or even hundreds of dollars at a time, you know, and that's okay. Because, you know, if someone gets a boo-boo, you don't want to send them to the emergency room where it's going to cost $10,000. You want to be able to send them to urgent care and then pay urgent care a couple $100. Kind of.
Correct. Okay, cool. So, yep, I have that put in my notes as well. So, all right, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, good. But yes, if you're going to do it, try to, so that's a couple of ways that you could get around that, but definitely whatever you do, try to get them on payroll as soon as you can. It's going to,
And that's definitely
yeah, go ahead.
That's definitely the goal. That's definitely the goal, is to get them on payroll. I just know as of now, I'm like, we can't do that yet.
And do one of the workarounds for the next season. And again, save up money for that so that you can, you know, when it comes time to actually do licensing insurance, you can actually do that and, you know, have a
awesome.
So I would probably save money up for the next season, you know, maybe you need to do another season above that. That's going to be based on your guys's, you know, goals that you, and if you hit your goals.
Correct. Cool. Awesome. Alex, did you have any questions?
I had some, but it was typically what you just asked too. But I had some questions about the PUC because I still didn't quite understand that, like, but I guess we have that lawyer that we're going to contact to get that and everything. So.
Okay, first of all, don't get a lawyer. You don't need one. And they're going to charge you up the hiney, right? What I would do is I would join the Movers Association and get with their leadership and say, hey, look, we're a moving labor company. We want to work to getting ourselves licensed and insured and be a full service moving company. What is the steps I need to take? What do I need to do? And what services do you guys provide to help me do that? And you're going to find that they're going to be very, very helpful. They'll help you get a tariff. They'll help you do all the licensing you need. And quite honestly, it's not hard to get licensed. The only thing that may be difficult, and I don't know Pennsylvania's licensing procedure specifically, but if it's anything like Michigan's, it's just you got to pay them a little bit of a fee to join their group and get, like, you know, as long as you're insured and you've got your DOT number and you're fully licensed and you got your DOT number, it's just a matter of filling out an application to the Movers Association. Or if it's not the Movers Association, they can help you fill it out online to the state, right? And it's just a few bucks that way. And you don't need an attorney, right? Now, if for an attorney to do it, he's going to charge you $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour to do this, and that becomes overly expensive. Now, if you guys got the money to do that, you guys got the budget, by all means, go do that, because he's going to dot the I's, he's going to cross the T's, he's going to make sure that it's no problem, right? Because you guys can make a lot of mistakes. I'm just saying you don't have to do that. So let me kind of walk back saying to not get the attorney, but if you don't have to, if you don't have to, you might want to look at that and then just go another way around it. Going to the POC, the Pennsylvania Movers Association, it's probably going to be your quickest and most affordable way. If you want to spend the money with the attorney, by all means, do so. Because again, they're going to make sure that thing. But another thing is they can really put they can really be very negative, because they're going to want your contract to say this thing, that thing, the other thing, and it's going to be like, how do I do business if I've got all these clauses in my terms and conditions? I can't do anything. Hell, if I look cross-eyed at the customer, I'm violating the contract. So I'm being hyperbolic, obviously.
Gotcha.
But they can be very constraining versus helpful. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my personal opinion. You don't have to take it. Is I would look into first going to the Movers Association, getting with the Movers Association and working with them to get licensed and insured versus going through an attorney first. If it comes to a point where you guys are running into things that you guys just don't feel comfortable with, then yes, go get the attorney for that. I would use the attorney for those things that are a little bit more complicated and convoluted that you guys just don't feel comfortable with, because then you can minimize how much they're going to charge versus the things that you can just get done yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah, I get nervous with all this. A lot of it's new to me, so making sure we're doing everything legal is big on me. I mean, I have a family to support, so last thing I want to do is run into something I can't handle. So yeah, but
right, and I get that. Trust me, I get that. I'm single. I was in Carson's boat, so it's like, hey, I don't care. It's just me. What are they gonna do? Sue me? Fine, I got that. You can't get blood from a turnip. You're in a different position than I was. You know what I mean? I could literally give somebody the finger. You can't. You've got a family to support. So as somebody who's been in the movie business now for 15 so years, doing things the right way is right now when you're in the nascent portion of your business. You're at the beginning levels. Get your foundation on solid bedrock, and don't build it on sand like I did. When you build your foundation on sand, the waves can wash you away so very easily, right? So build yourself on concrete now, build it now. That's why I love the idea that you guys made such a lot of money being labor only, that you started off with labor only and didn't just jump into full service. I love that. Let's give you a virtual high five, There you go. I mean, seriously, that was the bee's knees. So I really want to validate you guys, and the fact that you guys did so well so quickly. I know guys who are actually full service movers that haven't made that much in their first year.
Oh, wow.
And it was and I could tell that it comes down, one, that you guys work as a team, and that you guys are willing to get out there and hustle, right?
Correct.
At least Carson's
Absolutely.
willing to hustle. Alexander, you're just, well, whatever. I'm
well, I mean, Carson, this is definitely his baby. I just jumped on to help because sometimes when filling out paperwork and stuff, he gets frustrated, and that's kind of where I come in, and I'm like, okay, we can do this. But yeah, this is definitely his baby, and he's gotten really far with it. Even the accountant, when I talked to her and showed her all our stuff, she was impressed. So
awesome. Yeah. So
it's not just me though. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So, and she stays humble, but she came up with the name. She came up with, she did all the LLC paperwork. She was the one. I had nothing. I had not a dollar in my name. She was the one that, was putting up all the money in the beginning to, do everything to get us started. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Karsten, I know that you're hang on. I've got somebody coming. Hang on one second.
Yep. Not a problem.
No, out over the
What's that?
place. Eli's
Say what?
all over the place. Eli's all over the place, driving me
Okay,
nuts.
he's all over the place.
Yeah. Then you walked in, and then Nick was throwing a fit. I don't know if you guys heard him. He was throwing a fit because he couldn't find his wallet. I'm like,
Oh no,
really?
I didn't even hear that. No.
I was all like, I'm like in the middle of something. Can you just find it yourself? Really stressed out right now.
Hi, buddy. Hi, Eli.
Mm.
It's a little stinker butt.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm quiet. I'm just.
Well, no, you're good. Have you been taking any notes?
What Eli made off with my pen, but I have the book, the 60-minute CFO. So I'll have to. Maybe I could get it on audio so I could listen to it while I'm doing stuff because I have.
Yeah, probably do both. Maybe I'll get that for you for Christmas or something. So,
Yeah.
Probably do both. I would say like read it and do audio, and kind of like you said, just like it's not going to make sense at first, but you just do it over and over again, and then eventually, like things kind of start clicking.
Yeah.
So this for you. So I'm gonna put Alex, and then the one for me, he said traction. So that's Gina Wickman. So Travis Weather, Rotic Digital, does SEO and Google Ads.
I'm having a lot of calls coming in too right now. So that's
really?
been hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Send to real estate. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I apologize for that because you are a customer. I do rank you also.
All good.
It just helps me keep busy.
For sure. For sure.
What were we talking about? Can you remind me?
I forget. I think we were just talking about our partnership, me and Alex. And then, so.
Okay, good. One thing I did want to communicate to you, Karsten, is I can see that you're a go-getter. You're the driving force, right? And that's all good things, but you're going to need to delegate. So you're going to need to delegate. And it seems like you're willing and you're willing to do that, but you're going to really need to delegate and take off your plate. Because right now you have to be operations and marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to let Alexandria be organization, okay? You really got to, she's got to be the one establishing the company, which she's doing a great job at. She's the one that's got to do the basic sales, right? Because sales and marketing are two different divisions, okay? She's got to be the one answering the phones. And if she can't answer something, it sounds like she's a pretty intelligent person. She can figure it out. She knows your prices, right? But if there's something that she doesn't, maybe she can get a hold of you so that you can double team or something. But she's got to be the one to do it, put the organization there, establish it, do the sales, and then keep track of the finances and stuff. And take that completely off your plate. Because especially if you want to build this up and you want to add a couple more crews, which it sounds like you're going to need to, right? Then you got to be there 24/7, running the crews, making sure that they're there, put it in procedures and systems, right? And doing. And this is why when I said at the beginning, you guys got to get together and really delineate your responsibilities, right? Because if you start doing her job, right, she's going to get pissed off at you, right? And then if she starts doing your job, you're going to get pissed off at her, right? So by delineating out the responsibilities, right, that's why you really got to understand that book traction. You got to let her be your number two. Okay.
Awesome.
You're the idea man. He's the implementer. Okay. I'm telling you, and if you get those rules in, you guys really know those rules, you guys are going to go very, very far really quickly.
Awesome.
Okay. And
Thank you.
Like she knows what she's doing. I mean, she could, if she's got a family, she's taking good care of little kids, she can handle a little bit of payroll duties. She can handle a little bit of hiring and firing. She can, she can do a little bit of sales. And quite honestly, I'm talking phone sales. So she might not be able to get out to the customer's house and do an in-home estimate. That might be, she might have to delegate to you, but
Correct.
you know what I'm saying? But that is definitely, so get those roles thing. And then Carson, you got to be the driving force for marketing, but get her on board. So when she is doing like phone sales, that she knows what you're saying and what the messages are, what you're trying to produce. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. That's we actually appreciate that, because that's actually it sounds like that you like nailed it spot on. And that sounds like great advice, because we've been thinking about that where it's just like neither one of us, or we're just kind of winging it, you know. And I know we definitely get that confused with like responsibilities or like what someone should be doing, and like, you know, sometimes communication, because we live about an hour and a half away. And you know, I know me for myself, I'll stress out over everything, and I'll be like a nut sometimes, like trying to, you know, and I don't know how to communicate, you know, correctly. And I just kind of, you know, I'm on edge, so I don't communicate the best. I might be like snappy, or, you know, like when I'm stressed out.
Well, that would be perfect then, because if I figure it out, you know, you guys should get together and be personally there, because then you get synergy of working together. You can do it over the phone or over Zoom, but it's not going to be the same energy as if you guys are there together. And then you guys list out the jobs and the responsibilities, and then you guys set goals for each one of those divisions and responsibilities. And then you know that, hey, I'm having trouble with Joe as part of my organization, as part of my operations, right? So then you're going to say, Alexandra, as the person who handles ethics in our company, I've done what I could do. I need you to step in as HR from the corporate, and you be the bad guy, be the better of the bad guys, right? Because you need to be a little bit more personable with your guys. I mean, sometimes you got to be the bad guy, but sometimes there's got to be a real bad guy. And then that's when Alexandra will step in and get with the guys and say, hey, look, ship up, or we're replacing, kind of thing. Does this make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Might have a hard time with that because I'm kind of I'm a little, I guess I'm a sensitive person, but I guess that's
Welcome
something I'm
to
gonna have.
the head of a business.
That's like, you sound like my dad. My dad says that too to me, and I'm like, I know.
Running a business now, you don't got time to be sensitive. Take sensitive out of the heart, rip it out, throw it in a box, throw it in the ocean, and be done with it. I'm serious. You're not in business to be friends with your employees. You're in business to make money, right? And you didn't start this business to have a job. And if you did, get out right now. Because ideally, you want to be in business like in 5 to 10 years, to be retired, living the good life, and doing, you know, traveling the world, taking the kids to Disneyland or Disney World, going to Paris with the hubby or the wife or the boyfriends or girlfriends, you know, the side chicks and the side boys. You know what I mean? I'm being joke. That's a joke. You can laugh.
I'm laughing over here.
You know, I mean, that's why you're in business. Am I correct or am I wrong? Is that what you want for the business? Is not to be working every day, to have the freedom and to go around doing the things you really want to do? I mean, maybe this is your passion. Maybe you are the next Donald Trump. And then if that's awesome. Then you're in the right line of work. Continue. But most people don't want to be the next Donald Trump. They just want to be the next person, you know, and they want to enjoy the good life. And, you know, they don't want to be pressured by a boss who's an idiot. You know what I mean? Just because he's the owner's son or whatever the
Absolutely.
thing. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But I don't think I am. At least that's not why I joined business. Everybody that I consult, that's not why they did the business. They want to get out there and have that freedom. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if you want that freedom, You've got to be a business owner. And it doesn't mean you got to be dicks to your employees. It doesn't mean that you can't be friendly with your employees. It doesn't mean you can't be empathetic and try to help out your employees when they need help. What it means, though, is that you don't put up with their bullshit. And I tell you right now, I can tell you, Karsten, you know this firsthand because like you hear a bullshit daily.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't get into work because I don't have a car. Shut up. Take a bus, ride a bike. You know?
Exactly. No, we've fortunately, because we've you know, I know I approached her on this because right now we're at this point where like, you know, she was working in a factory and I thought this would be good for her because she could be with the kids, which she's grateful for, where she's able to spend time with the kids. And, you know, I say the same thing where, you know, we're business owners now and she's getting it slowly, but you know, as she gets more where she don't put up with guy shit, you know, like in the beginning, she would kind of like, you know, they kind of walk over. As of right now, we got a good crew of guys, but of course, you know, we're going to have to hire more. We got 5 guys that have been with us, you know, religiously. And we kind of walk a gray area though, where I kind of think we mix, so like for me, it's like a double-edged sword. Cause for me personally, you know, I'll tell you, I'm in recovery. So I used to get in a lot of trouble. I had a, you know, addiction problem. You know, I got 3 years sober. In my area, the recovery scene's like really big. So I know a lot of people. Fortunately, they make great movers. You know, so like all my movers are like, you know, guys that are like, you know, freshly getting sober, or not anymore, not the ones I have now, but originally, you know, they made, you know, that's how I got started doing it, you know, and they, I'm very close with them. I see them at meetings. We go to meetings together, you know, so we kind of have an outside, you know, work relationship too. I know Alex just threw for Thanksgiving, we paid the guys to come over and we made them a dinner and, you know, got them gifts, but it's also been good though, too. Cause I trust, you know, like, you know, I trust the guys when they're on jobs. Like I drilled in it, you know, in the very beginning, you know, like the guys that like attitude for me was my biggest thing. So I like, you know, I didn't care if you were a good mover, if you had piss poor attitude, like I just didn't deal with it. You know, like I was like, I'm not going to work you. And like right now I kind of got it down to a group of like 5 guys where they, you know, I feel like they represent us, you know, pretty well. We take good care of them. And like they, you know, they're very respectful with customer service. You know, I really drilled in the beginning. I know they just want to like throw blankets on things, or they weren't using enough blankets. And I went and bought probably like 150 moving blankets and stacked it up in each vehicle. And I was like, no, like everything is blanketed, you know, like unless the customer says so, like, I don't care, like, you know, and I really drill that in. And then it's like, now it's like, you know, when I'm seeing pictures and stuff, cause you know, we always post the pictures of this, like everything's blanketed. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like,
especially if you're working with the van liners, everything's got to get padded.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
more pads, the better, you know, kind of thing. Another thing they should invest in, if you're not using them, are vans, rubber, those industrial.
Yeah, we got them. Yep.
The tape is horrible. Obviously you're not.
They ruin the blankets. I love the bands. Bands are great. Yeah. Love the bands.
Use them multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. It saves a lot. It saves us a lot too on, you know, plastic wrap and tape. So yes.
Now, if you're just doing a load, obviously you're not going to use your pads and you're not going to use your bands. Then tape is going to be useful, but that's a whole different story.
Correct. Correct.
That's good. Now, when it comes to like hiring felons or addicts, and I've done both, it's good that you trust them, you'll know them, and you like them. Mm-hmm. But you as an addict, and you got to be and I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm not going to bullshit you and blow smoke up your ass. You know for a fact that addict is a thief, right? So you got to really be on top of that. I mean,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a fight every single day if you're an addict to not be an addict. Every single day. And those urges are there all the time. All the time. So they're fighting that urge to pick up that diamond ring, that gold necklace, that $20 in the wallet. They're fighting that because they're thinking, you know, subconsciously, they're thinking about, oh, that's a rock. That's a dime bag.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually ran into one, like after that, you know, I made sure, like I got to make contracts for even our local moves. Because, you know, like other ones, if I flat rated or something like that, or if we were doing, you know, full service, you know, I would send contracts out. and I would state that where it's just like, jewelry, all that, make sure this is, anything of value is put away. After we dealt with a job where a customer, I actually believe the guys, but like, a customer came up and said that it was like 13,000 cash went missing from their safe that they left open, or that the wife left open. And, and it really scared me. I mean, I told them to file a police report. I gave the guys the information. I had the guys go in to the police station and do a report. Like I said, after kind of doing it, there was something fishy about it. I don't believe it was, the guys. We were using a new guy that was his first day. But, I've seen him around. I'm like, all right, yeah, I don't think so. But after that kind of opened my eyes to where like, all right, I really got to save my ass with this. And I know even with the other guys, I mean, if they relapse or something like that, I know. And I tell them like, hey man, go to rehab. You got your job when you get back, I know.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. You want to take care of the guys. If they're going to take care of you, got to take care of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're in a business, and
for sure,
their slip ups could have drastic consequences against your company. And as a business owner, you've got to be very cognizant of that point. So Ronald Reagan had the saying about trust but verify, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to have clear procedures if any kind of impropriety comes about, like theft or anything like that. There's a clear, understood procedure that you go through, and you should have your customers know what that procedure is, and they have to have signage. Like, here's our theft policy. If you notice theft, you must inform head of the company straight away. Stop all moving activities. Keep the crew outside of the home. Stop all activities. Contact you immediately. Call police. Make a police report, right? And it's like that. And if you fail to follow these procedures, then we're not going to be held liable, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And your crew has to know that procedure. You have to know that procedure, and you got to have your thing. And everybody's got to be educated, because one, that'll protect your guys too. Because if they're making false accusations and they called the police, and it turns out that they just didn't do it, and they filed a false police report, now you can go after them, because they now just defamed you. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Not that you would necessarily, because mistakes happen. But they're going to feel like if they find out that, hey, like hypothetically, this person said, your guy stole $13,000, blah, 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 blah. Good. They follow their procedure. They go outside to their vehicle off the property. They do not leave. You know what I mean? They stay right there. They contact you. Customer contact you. The police is called. And if the customer won't call the police, that invalidates and voids out any complaint that they have. You will not take that complaint, seriously. Like, oh, you're not going to call the police? Well, we're not. Too bad then on you. Sign here.
Yeah.
You're not going to fail to sign, and you're not calling the police. You know what I mean? No worries. You just write down customer refused to sign, right? And then date it. And then you already have those in the box, in the truck waiting. So if it does happen, that the crew leader can just have that done. You know what I mean? Or if you go out, you have it ready. And that way, everybody's protected. Your customer's protected, you're protected, and your employees are protected. Because you don't want your employees getting falsely accused. But if they did do it, you want to show the customer, we're serious about it.
We'll make it right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, but by all means, continue doing what you're doing. Try to find guys that are going to fit your company's values, goals, and strategies. And I'm actually going to be doing a whole video about the foundation, and that all comes down to vision, having goals, having that core values, and so on and so forth. Because that's really where it's got to build from. You're in recovery. To have good recovery, you've got to have these 12 steps, which are core values you've got to create. right? So you know about
Correct.
what I'm talking about. And that translates to
Absolutely.
your business. Your business has got to have core values, right? And then
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
once a week or once a month or every 2 weeks, you need to sit down and have a company meeting. You, Alexandria, all the crew, anybody that works for you. You guys got to have a company meeting and go over where the company is, where the company was, and where the company should be going, right?
Mhm.
And then that company address any problems that they might be having, you know, and just so that everybody's on the same battlefield and they're going after the same enemy, so to speak. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're getting ready to wrap up. I guess I just wanted to double check with the notes, make sure I got everything right before we
Sure.
get off.
We got
So, I mean, awesome. Thank you. So, 60-minute CFO book, that's for Alexandra Gale. That's, knowing the numbers. So we'll get that book. For me, you recommended Traction. Author was Gina Wickman, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then I got Travis Weather, Rotate Digital, who does SEO and Google ads. That would be someone we'd contact for that. All right, awesome. And then, I'll just I think I got these. And then you were just saying that.
Travis, by the way, Travis is also a member of the 7-Figure Moving Academy. So you can contact.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right, cool. I'll search him on there. Cool.
Okay, or just or just put a post. Hey, Travis, contact me.
Yeah. Awesome. And then you were just saying that, so look for van line Facebook groups. Try and get on these Facebook groups for van lines. And then, all right. Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Cool, Jay. I like I said, I really appreciate your time and, thank you, because this video has been very helpful to kind of, for both of us to go, from where we're going to go now. Kind of gives us a little more structure and, got some good information. So, yes.
Not a problem. I was glad to do it. Thank you for allowing me to interview you and pick your guys' brains. And this is going to be very helpful for guys when I put it on YouTube. So look out for that. Say, hey,
cool. Awesome.
And I appreciate all the wonderful things said about me, and I want to make sure that the wonderful things are said about you guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
You guys have great holidays, and hopefully we'll do this again.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Oh, actually, one last question.
Go ahead.
So for the Facebook group, I want her to be on it too, so she could see the post. So it's on my personal one. Is there a way she could use the same code, or should I just give her? I'll give her access to, I guess, maybe my Facebook, and she just could get on there or something.
Technically, this is how I make my income. This is the ways I make my income. No offense.
Yeah.
But that membership group is one of my income sources. So by allowing people that haven't paid to be in the group, it takes away from my income.
Okay, no, not a problem. I'll just get her to, we'll pay for her too, so she could just be on it. I just wasn't sure if it was a done deal since both of us are together, but no, I completely understand.
I appreciate it, but you got to understand too,
Yep.
I do these YouTube videos for free, and I'm retired, but I do got bills to pay.
I completely understand that, Jay. Absolutely. So, absolutely.
All right.
I don't have Facebook anyways, Carson, so we can't really get on.
Okay. All righty.
All right.
Cool. Thank you, Jay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.